Hello, everyone. Today is our meeting number 10, and we will discuss paradigms of interdependence. This is the middle chapter before public victory. We finished the 3 habits in private victory, and now it's like a transition to public victory. Very, very interesting chapter. And so especially warm welcome to our newcomers. I'm sure you will be able to catch up. And if not, please, I posted the link on the chat. Please go and listen if you are interested. But before we will move forward, please, guys, especially who were with us, do you have any questions? Of course, it would be and should be and preferably regarding the previous material. It relates to personal mission statement, our scheduling, or even habit number 1. We finished a private victory. And let me return to all of us. Hello, Shelby.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, guys, who were working on a personal mission statement? Who were working on scheduling? Hello, Carlos. Well, let's move. If you will want to add something or something common to your head, please raise your hand and we will address your question. So today we will discuss Richard's mission statement. Thank you, Richard, very much for agreeing to present your, in my opinion, beautiful mission statement. I want to remind you that Richard is with us for the 2nd semester. We went through all 7 habits last year, and now we are the second semester. So we will give you the microphone, and he will read, and please ask any questions, especially he is using his mission statement already for 1 year. Yes, Richard, please, it's all yours.
Okay, well, thank you, and good evening to everybody. I worked on this mission statement, as Lena said, the first time around in 7 habits. We all had this this homework to do, and I did mine kind of late in the session. I got the privilege to hear several other mission statements, and at one point decided to sit down and do this. So as I said before, every big task that we perform starts out with small steps. And so I grabbed a clean sheet of paper and I grabbed my favorite pen and sat down and started writing. So the first thing at the top is a broad statement of what I'd like to say is the I guess the summary of what I'm trying to achieve. And so it says that the precious things in my life that will continue to have my undivided focus are God, family, and my time. I'll refer to my time a little bit later on. It says, God has allocated my time and provided me the gift of life which I will use effectively to both serve him and provide well for and protect my family. And so from there, I go on to some subpoints as to how to achieve that, let's say, goal. It starts out with that I have a naturally methodical approach to solving problems and challenges, but the solutions have to be guided by integrity and humbleness. Feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions on anything. I'll be happy to answer those. And so integrity and humbleness is two of the character ethics from the very first part of the book. I feel they're important to everything I do. The next point is I will not presume to know it all, but will instead endeavor to understand from the opposite point of view. I've been practicing this for a long time. Some people have told me I'm a good listener, and I do it because I actually listen and try to understand what the other person is saying. Covey did mention that we often listen to others with the intent to answer, and that gets in the way of understanding what they're trying to tell us. Next point is irrational emotions are plentiful and are all mentally corrosive. They have no place in my life. And we have many emotions in our life, and I'm specifically referring to the irrational ones, the ones that don't bring us to any positive conclusion or even make things worse. For example, fear is an irrational emotion in itself, and if you let it, it can control you mentally. And so I try to keep those things out of my life. Next point is learning from my mistakes and never repeating them leads to less mistakes and more success. Something that many people have learned. It's difficult to do sometimes. The way I approach that is if I make a mistake, not only do I want to learn the lesson, but I also want to figure out how not to repeat that mistake. It's a process that I go through with most things that I do. The next point says, honesty brings me peace, and I need peace to think clearly. Honesty is one of those things where if you're not honest, it only brings more dishonesty, and one dishonest lie has to be covered by another one, and those things certainly can cloud your mind when you're thinking about how to keep a story straight. So honesty is the best approach for me, and it brings me peace because I don't have to be concerned about alternate stories, let's say. And that allows me to think more clearly about things that are important. I did make one small change to this next point. It says justice must be left to God. And I did add one part to it, and I put in there justice and judgment must be left to God. Anybody questions on that one? Okay, it's pretty straightforward. That one is from the top. Okay, the next one says, I need God and I need his words of influence in my life daily. The next one is, without planning, I cannot dream. Without patience, I cannot achieve. Both things go hand in hand. So planning is, I guess you would say, sort of like the design part of what Covey mentioned. Be the designer or the creator. And then, of course, patience needed to achieve, and that's the management part of what you create. Next one says, I must be the best example of myself that I can be, one that others might choose to follow. And so that the best way for me to apply influence, let's say, to others is through example. I don't believe that that words and stories and so on are sufficient. And sometimes unrequested advice can have the opposite result. So for me, setting the best example possible is the best approach to influencing others. And then the final part of it also relates to time. And it says, when I was young, I traded time for material things. And now I must trade material things for time, and time to fulfill my mission on earth. That's it. Any questions?
Yes, I have one.
Mm-hmm.
How good are you at sticking to it? And how do you stick to it?
I would say that in to a certain degree, these things are a part of me as it is already, so it's not difficult. There's other parts of it that are difficult to follow, and as others have done, I do have a printout of this mission statement, and it's very visible to me every day, and I can read it and decide, especially if I read it in the morning, decide that I'm going to move forward with applying what I've written. So I can say to a certain degree, if these things are natural to you, of course, there's not a problem. But the ones that are not, yeah, they're still difficult. But if I read them every day, they slowly, a little bit at a time, become part of me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, well then back to you, Lena. Thank you all.
Thank you, Richard. Personally, I think it's beautifully created, written from heart, and everything is useful. And how you said, I can confirm, yes, that the majority of your mission statement is who you are, and whatever you are working on, definitely you gave great advice. You printed it and even frame it, and it stays right in front of you on your working table. And Mr. Covey was saying that please, he said, do not print it and put in the shelf. Otherwise, you will never will achieve anything. It should be as a reminder to do. So beautifully well done. Thank you. Well, guys, if you don't have other questions, we will move ahead. So I got some feedbacks and decided that I will have half an hour for all questions, mission statements, and discussion, for example, from our message board, but 1 hour. So it will be half an hour, but 1 hour will be for the new topic, always. So what I want to say in general, so far I don't see questions. Please raise your hand. I will stop and listen to you. We will listen to you. What I want to say that please give thoughts about to write your mission statement. It's really, really important. I don't want to repeat everything. Patrick gave a beautiful presentation last meeting before. Richard showed right now. I tell you that the first group, everybody wrote mission statements. Every single person. And no one said that it was a waste of time. We are using our mission statements. Yes, Patrick.
I just have a general question for the group.
Thank you. Mhm.
So I'm making the assumption that everybody have written this mission statement. And I guess my question was it hard for you to write the mission statement? Is it even harder for you to share your mission statement because it's like you're I guess, the illusion is that you're exposing yourself.
It's actually, are you asking Richard, or it's a general question to everyone?
General question to the group.
Yes, I love your question. Yes. Yes, Richard.
Well, I can certainly say that it does take some soul searching to create the statement. Many of it comes from your state of mind at that moment. And so issues or problems or things that may be happening can come out first, of course. But after you get started, the other things come naturally. They will come to you. You see where the shortcomings are. You may actually start out with your best qualities. And then from there you go, oh, but wait a minute. I need to work on this as well. So I recommend that everybody get at least started on it, write down one thing, and then before you know it, it'll become part of you. I like the idea. When I first heard it, I thought that it was related to businesses. That's the only context I've ever heard of mission statement used in. And so to see it as a personal thing, how you operate and run your life, didn't click at first, but eventually it did. And so my mission statement, I wouldn't say is highly personal. It can be. Mine is pretty general in terms of the things that are important to me. So in that sense, it wasn't too difficult for me to share with you. But certainly, personalized mission statement with issues that you find very personal can be difficult to reveal. And but that wasn't in my case. It can be in yours though.
In my opinion, a very thorough answer. Yes, Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time I written the mission statement. This was like decades ago when I was in a leadership training program. It was difficult, mainly because, with a bunch of type A people in the room, you get judged pretty quickly. So it was difficult. It was hard to like write down and say, oh yeah, I suck at this. Like you kind of do a personal SWOT analysis, and people who on a lower emotional spectrum or maturity spectrum would basically peck at your weaknesses, and to me back then it got me understanding that, well, it's good to leave it. It's good to basically to have other people recognize what you recognize in yourself, because now you actually have a way to have a goal to basically strengthen it or offsets it. So that's that's another benefit of a mission statement. It kind of shows you, at least for me anyway, short a lot of shortcomings, and also it kind of gives you, or at least it gives me a quadrant 2 activities to do. So
Thank you, Patrick. Zohra?
So I want to be really honest. I don't know how to start this thing. Like, I've tried sitting down to write a mission statement, and I don't know. I guess I don't know if my mind is cluttered and my emotions are going through something. And it's very difficult to focus to really write what you want. And I don't know how. I look at everybody's as they're putting it up, and I'm like, how are you even starting these things? And I don't know if it's just out of nervousness. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I've been having a hard time with it.
Zohra, I was posting the plan how to do it. It's a step by step. Do you have access to it? But I
don't think so. I don't know if you put it before I got there. I didn't see it, the step by step maybe, or I didn't look properly.
do I have your phone number?
Yeah, I could put it in the message.
I'll send to you. It will be the first step. It will be very helpful.
All right, thank you.
So guys, if you will start, if you need that help, please email me, text me, and I'll send you the plan and like step by step. It will be very helpful to you. Well, can we move ahead, guys? So I think everybody said what they wanted, because sometimes you forgot to lower your hand and I didn't ask you. Okay. Let me share the screen. Yes. So guys, before we will move to the area of public victory, let's see what we went through. So we went through the whole private victory, and all 3 habits are related to private victory. Habit number 1, be proactive. Habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. It's about your creativity. It's about your leadership. It's about your creating where you're going. First, creating the way, creating the path, knowing where you're going. And habit number 3, put first things first. It's basically manage your way. They are very deep, very important, and we will rely on them all the time. And still, before we will go to public victory, I want to ask you one question, and you will realize how deep was our private victory. What is the most important thing on the planet to do now? This is a question based on your opinion. Can you just share with us your opinion?
Well, for me right now, the most important thing is listening to everybody.
Okay.
In this.
Good.
For me, I think the most important thing to do, or I'm learning, is not to avoid confrontations or hard conversations, and no matter what the outcome is, just be honest, because I think it'll clear my head more, bring me more peace, because if not, I seem to repeat that stuff in my head again and again, like I'm in my own jailhouse. So I've been working on trying to do that. A little scary, but I'm getting there.
Beautiful, beautiful. Guys, answer. Who else? Where is our guys who I didn't say hello? Valentina, hello. Very nice to see you. Carlos, I said hello to you.
Hello.
Nicole, hello. Guys, you can answer this question. There is no wrong answer. Please say your opinion. I really want to hear your voices.
I think the most important thing is to take care of our planet and to clean it up. Even if we didn't make the mess, if we see something like garbage or plastic on the ground or the beach, to pick it up.
Beautiful,
Care of it.
beautiful. See how different opinions, how beautiful your opinions, guys. No, one more, please. Okay. Let me say what I think. Raise human consciousness. Guys, with our advanced technology, we are the most comfortable generation ever. Our ancestors, they even didn't dream about how we are living. Just think for a minute, for a second, how comfortable we are. And can we say that we added with our technology, we added happiness? That we are more happy than 100, 200, 300 years ago? That we are more joyful? Actually, I don't see that. Actually, you know that America is a pretty depressive country, using drugs and suicides. So what's going on? So guys, when technology outpaces emotional intelligence, it's a problem. And it's what's going on. Our technology outpaced our emotional intelligence, our human consciousness. And in order to survive as a species, we need to take care of our planet. And it will happen only when we will raise human consciousness. And from whom it will start? From Biden? From Putin? No, it will start with us. It will start with every single person. It will start with me. It will start with Richard, Patrick, Nicole, Carlos, Zohra, Valentina, everyone. Single person when start to raise consciousness, then we as a group, as a species, we will raise. Just remember how Eckhart Tolle said that if we can destroy ourselves. And he said nobody will notice. There is trillions of planets around. Our planet will be destroyed, and that's it. Maya civilization disappeared, right? Dinosaurs, tyrannosaurs were extinct. Do you really miss them? Who is missing them? No, instead of dinosaurs, tyrannosaurs, Maya civilization, the other civilization came. That's it. Or the other animal came. So this is what Mr. Covey is telling us, that everything starts with you. And of course, it will start within you. So we are responsible not only for ourselves, we are responsible for our planet. Yes, Richard.
Maybe too broad a question, but if you could please define consciousness and how to raise it.
Oh, it's a beautiful question. I would like to bring the question to our different meetup. We will talk about brain. As you ask, I will just make a quick announce. I will start in January a new meetup, and it would be how our brain is working based on neuroscience. It's fascinating material. Right now, we are studying with Mr. Covey what to do. And in that meetup, it would be explained why we need to do. For me, it's working very well. I cannot just follow. I need to know why I'm doing that. And when I'm doing that, I'm full of energy to do that. So please welcome. I will announce one more time. You ask, Richard, thank you for beautiful question. You ask very serious question. And I can tell you, I can answer very easy. It's everything what we studied in Private Victory. Everything. It's be responsible for your own action. It's do not blame everyone around and anything. It's be responsible, how Nicole said, not only for what we did. It's be responsible for even what we didn't do. This is how it was said on previous meeting. If you are in the dependent level, you have little responsibility. If you are at independent level, you have bigger responsibility. And if you are higher in interdependent level, you're responsible for everything what is around you. So this is our consciousness. And the habit number 2 and habit number 3. So this is, if we will handle that, this is be responsible for your thoughts. Because everything starts from thoughts. I can guarantee you, not you, Richard, everyone, that we practically even didn't start to work on ourselves because we actually even don't know much about ourselves. We think that we know everything, but the deeper we are going, the more we understand that we don't know anything about ourselves. Did I answer your question?
I see where you're coming from.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, guys, thank you so much for your insight. And we finish this. So what Mr. Covey is saying to us, that public victory, private victory precedes public victory. So without private victory, you cannot win a public victory. Just remember about it. But please, I don't want to scare anyone. Please be with us. You still can listen our recordings, or still you will be able to catch up. Still you will be able to gain some benefits. Interesting. Mr. Covey is saying that on the road to success, there are no shortcuts. It's his words. So guys, there is no shortcuts. And he's saying more that there are no way to parachute into this terrain. And it relates not only to 7 habits, it relates to everything. We are going alone into some problems, right? But we want to get right away. We want to find some magic sentence, magic word, and everything will be solved. No, practice, awareness, consciousness, practice, and persistence. Only that will take us into success we want to. Guys, do you want to discuss this quote? Mr. Covey is saying, you can be successful with other people if you haven't paid the price of success with yourself. Just think about it, and let's discuss shortly about it's 13 people. I will make 3 groups. And we discussed like 5-7 minutes. Let's do that. Let's do it. So make a photo if you won't remember. You can't be successful with other people if you haven't paid the price of success with yourself. What kind of price he's talking, I'm sure we will figure out. Okay, guys, I open 4 rooms. Please join.
Oh, hey, Lena, today the breakout room took just like 3 seconds. What's happening?
Thanks. Sure. Hello, everyone. What was happened?
The time
So-
felt shorter than what it was.
Yeah, it was too short.
Okay, it was 6 minutes, and it was just 3 people in the room. Okay, I guess you had a beautiful conversation. Sorry for that, guys. I don't know how to monitor that because I don't hear what you are talking, and sometimes I don't know how much time give to you. Okay, let's see what you came to. Group number 1.
Okay, well, I guess I can speak for the group, but we had a side conversation, a little bit more questions about my mission statement. So it was a little bit not
Okay.
enough time to discuss this, but I think we'll have to just pass it on to the next room. We didn't discuss it.
If you discuss that, that's fine. Group number 2.
I'm not sure what numbers were assigned to each of us. So if you want to
Go ahead.
identify names.
I don't remember because I've seen, but
Right.
I didn't remember. Next time I try to remember who were where. Okay, it's if you want to go ahead, Randy, just go.
Okay. Patrick actually facilitated, but I'll talk about what we ended up our conversation with, and that was a corollary of this theme that it's very similar to a statement a lot of people follow, or a lot of people profess, which is love thy neighbor, but they ignore the second part of the statement, as thyself. So we talked about the importance of getting your own house in order first to enable you to be able to go outside your sphere and then be successful in interactions with other people.
That's very interesting approach. I kind of didn't think that way. Thank you, Randy. Group number 3.
Yeah, we
I'll
had
be
a-
present.
I'm sorry.
I thought I was group number 3.
I thought it was Christine and Tracy and myself.
Okay, go ahead.
Group number
No
4.
problem. Go ahead. Who? Carlos want to go. Stefan? Who is good?
Yeah, we had a pretty good discussion. We kind of
Go ahead, Carlos.
read on the same point that to begin with. And I like something that was said in Richard's, the truth brings peace. I like that. The other thing that we kind of read on is you can begin with the end, but also you have to begin with yourself. And we kind of discussed that as you improve yourself, I'm not in a greedy way, or increase your value, not monetarily, but that as a person to the planet, the country, the state, the neighborhood, your neighbors, blah, blah, blah. And you show your family, these are steps you take to live the best life you can, i.e. eating right, being healthy, doing exercise, setting the example, in truth, and bringing the peace with it. That's the best way to start, because I think someone else said earlier that it's hard to give people advice, or that sort of thing, because they kind of take it as criticism. So the best way to do that is set the example.
Right.
So we kind of boiled it down to, as you live the best you can, and again, continuing to learn, continuing to improve, continuing to help those around you have the best lives they can, you kind of become a leader in this. Not trying to show off or anything like that, but just leading by example is kind of the best way to have the positive influence. And with that, I think being successful allows other people to be successful.
Beautiful answer. Thank you so much. Who is next? Who is next, guys? Who would like to present the group?
He was supposed to present it. I don't know what happened.
Yes, I don't know as well.
Nicole, you don't see, I don't know where he went. Okay. Anyhow, I guess I'll do it.
Go ahead,
So
Nicole.
so what we were, I guess when we were discussing it, one of the things that I brought up, because what was said is that, you know, when you master, and I was explaining, I guess, my point of view that you don't master a lot of stuff, because if every day you're supposed to grow and learn, then you'll never get to that mastery point. You're always going to grow and learn. The day you feel that you've mastered a lot of stuff, you've stopped growing. And every field has always something new to offer. Everything in life has something new to offer. So my point of view was that I think what he's saying is confidence, is what he's trying to say. That when you feel confidence in what you believe and what you're thinking, and you feel that you have the I guess to some degree a backup, then you can literally go out there and be successful, because the world listens to someone that shows confidence in what they believe, you know. So I guess my old saying is, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. So if you are confident in what you believe, then other people will feel confident in what you're saying, and maybe even want to be part of it or research it or see it that way. So that's just my thought process. That's all.
Thank you so much, guys. All answers are very quality answers. And what I just can add there and summarize, yes, we just simply need to start with ourselves. Before we even move to into any relationship. But what usually we see, not usually, very often, one person who is unhappy, immature, he or she thinks, okay, I will get married, or I will find a boyfriend, girlfriend, and that person will make me happy. Guys, doesn't work that way. That immature and unhappy person will attract absolutely the same person. And now their unhappiness will be doubled. So you cannot rely on somebody else that the other person will make you happy. So you need to start with yourself. Yes, Richard.
I was actually listening to Covey today talk about the self paradigm. And so other than the paradigms of what we think of everything in the world, what do we think about ourselves, and how we feel about ourselves? How do we see ourselves? Because that directly affects how we see others and how we treat others as well.
And this is a huge, huge work. Don't think that you listened to what Richard said and you understood and everything will change. No, but this is the necessary first step to understand. But work on it. It's a hard work. It's a big work. It's a deep work, but it's possible. And actually, it should be enjoyable work, because through this work, you will be happier. You will be more fulfillment. And again, this would be, we will discuss on Buddha's Brain meetup, which will start on January 5th. Yes, Zohra?
I was just wondering, or I guess I have a question on what you were saying. How do you know, and I don't even think I'm saying this right, I don't know how to express it properly. How do you know you're happy, or you're, it's hard to explain, like, okay, so in my experience, people will turn around and go, you have to make yourself happy first. But what if surrounding yourself with company makes you happy? For some reason, that doesn't, for most people, they'll turn around and go, well, that means you're just not happy with yourself. And it's like, how is that not happy with yourself if that's what makes me happy? I don't understand. Where's the difference? Like, where do you figure that out? You know what I mean? Because I mean, isn't loving yourself or making yourself happy about the same thing? Like, I mean, if you're happy, then you are loving yourself in a sense, no? Or do you think that's different? I know I'm not saying what I'm trying to say, but I'm doing the best I can with it.
Zohra, with your question, we won't be able to move ahead. If right now I will ask all people who are here, we will discuss till the end of our meeting. It's a beautiful question. Let me, guys, I would love to ask you, but we need to move ahead. Let me answer what I think, and then it seems to me that Mr. Covey would answer probably the same. It's not about company. It's not about financial success. It's not about anything which is outside of us. It's know who you are. If we don't know who we are, we need to start to search. And if we search, it will be answered. If we search, we will find. It's only inside. If you feel inside satisfaction, peace, pleasure, joy, that is happiness. But it needs to search. Thank you, Zohra. Beautiful, beautiful question. Can we move ahead, guys?
Yes.
Yes, let's do this. So we are a little bit in a good discussion, and I actually prepare for you another quote, but guys, we don't have time to discuss it. And let me give you right away the answer which Mr. Covey offered to us. You can't have the fruits without the roots. He's saying that without the roots, that it's the principle of sequencing. Private victories precede public victories. Self-mastery and self-discipline are the foundation of good relationships with others. I just point again, self-mastery, not mastery to somebody else. Self-discipline, not to discipline somebody else, are the foundation of good relationships with others. Beautifully, beautifully said. Well, guys, I will ask a volunteer to read. This I just post, it relates to our private victory, and this is just a part of what we learned. I couldn't put everything here. Do I have a volunteer to read? And I need to fix something with my screen. I don't see that if you raise the hand. Carlos, did you raise the hand?
Yes, I did. I'll read it.
Oh, please read it.
Private victory precedes public victory. Self-mastery and self-discipline are the foundation of good relationships with others. Real self-respect comes from dominion over self, from true independence. And that's the focus of habits 1, 2, and 3. Independence is an achievement. Interdependence is a choice. Only independent people can make.
Thank you. So independence is an achievement. So, for example, if a person in the dependent level, he needs or she needs to work toward to be independent. And interdependence is a choice that only independent people can make. Do I have a volunteer to read? Carlos?
Yeah, I'm going to keep going here.
Yeah, go. Good voice, nice intonation. Yes, go ahead.
The most important ingredient we put into any relationship is not what we say or what we do, but what we are.
Guys, can you imagine how deep this saying? It's not what we say. It's even not what we do. It's what we are. Go ahead, Carlos.
I'm sorry, you want me to continue?
Yes, please, go ahead. Thank you.
And if our Words and our actions come from superficial human relation techniques, the personality ethic, rather than from our own inner core, the character ethic. Others will sense the duplicity. We simply won't be able to create and sustain foundation necessary for effective interdependence.
So this is what means that if we are saying one thing and doing different thing, and if it's not we are, people will sense the duplicity. And sometimes we don't understand what's going on. But people feel it, people sense it. This is so beautifully that I cannot say better. This is, I post that we would read and analyze it. Is anybody wants to read?
I'll read it.
Yes, please, Patrick.
Yeah. Paradigms of interdependence. The place to begin building any relationship is inside ourselves, inside our circle of influence, our own character. As we become independent, proactive, centered in correct principles, value-driven, and able to organize and execute around the priorities in our life with integrity, we then can choose to become interdependent, capable of being rich, enduring, highly productive relationship with other people.
So guys, we will be capable of building rich, enduring, highly productive relationships with other people. It's beautiful. And we cannot jump with the parachute right away into a public relationship. But actually we do. But we know the result. We know what's happened. Thank you, Patrick. Anybody wants to read?
I'll read.
Yes.
Paradigms of interdependence. We can often live for years with a chronic pain of our lack of vision, leadership, or management in our personal lives. Because the pain is chronic, we get used to it. We learn to live with it.
Just think, just a little bit, think about it. I guarantee many people even don't realize it, don't think this way. Yes, Patrick.
Going back to what you said before about the character, the personality ethics, right? You think, I look at it from this perspective, and every time I read the book, I get something nuances, right? Where if you think about the personality ethics, you're doing something that's not that are not aligned with your character, right? So there's two outcomes. Either you get an outcome by manipulating somebody, right? Or you know what I mean, or you get a negative outcome because you're in the not in your center of influence, meaning that you're not because you want to do something, because you have to do something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So to please somebody. So therefore, it's like it's a double-edged sword. The worst is like where you actually, hurt somebody else and hurt yourself, mm-hmm. with the personality ethics. So
absolutely. Thank you, Patrick. And this is a very important excerpt. Do I have a volunteer to read?
I'll read it.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Nicole.
Go ahead.
Okay. The paradigms of interdependence.
No, the second, Nicole. The
second.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's fine.
But when we have problems in our interactions with other people, we're very aware of acute pain. It's often intense, and we want it to go away. That's when we try to treat the symptoms with quick fixes and techniques, the band-aids of the personality ethic. We don't understand that the acute pain is an outgrowth of the deeper chronic problem. And until we stop treating the symptoms and start really treating the problem, our efforts will only bring counterproductive results. We will only be successful at obscuring the chronic pain even more. Is that like denial?
Thank you, Nicole. This everything, and first not be aware of what's going on. do not have the ability to treat the problem correctly, not enough knowledge of how to live correctly, how to address the relationship problems, because nobody taught us. In schools and colleges, we were learning math and physics and chemistry. And yes, and denial as well. So we need to understand that the acute pain is a deeper chronic problem. So if we will just, and it's in everything, it's even in our health. Something happened, and what we are doing, we are taking the pill, painkillers or Tylenol or something, antibiotics. You know that antibiotics do not cure. Antibiotics kill everything in its way. And the symptoms gone, we are happy, but the problem is much deeper. We need to investigate, so we need to learn ourselves. In a relationship, the same. And everything will come if you want to figure out. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Well, and before again, we will go to habits number 4, 5, and 6. Our public victory, Covey introduced us a powerful, very powerful metaphor, and it's the emotional bank account. We all know what a financial bank account is, right? We make deposits into and build up a reserve from which we can make withdrawals when we need to. And an emotional bank account is a metaphor that describes the amount of trust. I will repeat, describes the amount of trust that's been built up in a relationship. It's the feeling of safeness you have with another human being. If you make deposits into the emotional bank account through courtesy, kindness, honesty, keeping your commitments, forgiveness, you build up a reserve. Your trust toward your person becomes higher. And you can rely on that trust anytime you need it. But if you have a habit of showing discourtesy, disrespect, overreacting, ignoring, betraying, threatening, or play a little teen good in your life, then eventually emotional bank account is overdrawn. The trust level gets very low. So it doesn't go from one something you did wrong or one something you did right. No, it's a process. It's a long and a serious process. And if you build your trust, it's a solid foundation. If you build your good trust, if you sometimes was disrespectful, no, your trust didn't ruin, or vice versa. If you build your trust, you can even make mistakes. That's beautiful. And the trust level, that emotional reserve will compensate for it. You even can actually, you won't make me an offender for a word. I love it. You won't make me an offender for a word. We can say sometimes stupid things. We can be emotional and say something when we even don't mean that, right? But just one word, sorry, dear, I didn't mean that. And the other person with trust got, yes, okay, I believe you. What did you want to say? But if there is no trust, what it will be? No, you said that. No, dear, I didn't say, I didn't mean that. Yes, I said that, but I didn't mean. No, you said that. See, this is no trust. Do you have any examples? Or do you want to say something? This is very, very, very deep topic. I wanted you would say something. Thank you, Richard. Yes, please.
Let's just put it in plain numbers as a normal bank account. If you put $100 in and then take $10 out, you still have 90. That's still pretty good.
Beautiful.
But if you have 10 and you take out 10, now you have 0.
Right, right. And everything is a different value. For example, honesty, high value, right? And something more little, like just a little compliment, it's less value, right? So there is also different value on deposits and withdrawals. Patrick, please.
Yeah, again, this is nuance, right? You know, the emotional bank account sadly doesn't compound, right? Meaning like, you know, oh yeah, you were honest once, and then you know, the assumption is like, oh yeah, you know, you could do no wrong, and you get and it's fine, right? Because the assumption is you have compounded interest or credibility, right? So that's one of the illusions that I find, right, with the emotional bank account, is that you constantly have to make deposit. Otherwise, if you do nothing, right, the account gets, you know, because of the I guess what is it called? The discounting effect, right? Because it basically destroys the bank account, right? It lessens the value, and the way to do that is like you neglect a relationship, right? You basically you don't, you know, you don't have to, you're misaligned in a lot of ways, and you basically there's no there's a shift in communication, and there's no effort to basically repair it, right? Or it's like, oh yeah, it's fine, right? But you know, it's not, right? So
yes, very, very good adding. Thank you, Patrick. Yes, sometimes withdrawals are going automatic, which even we are not aware of it. And Randy, I really want to hear you. Let me just finish. Patrick raised very important things. So guys, how I said unaware, how did it happen? It's happened that we are very often doing unevaluated judgments about people. How did it happen? For example, we had not a good relationship, and now we are unconsciously bring our fears to a new relationship. We don't do it consciously. I guarantee you, you don't do it consciously. We are all good people. We are doing it unconsciously, and we are actually thinking inside of us, now I'm smart, I know what I will do. But a different person who is with you is completely different. That different person doesn't have that quality, doesn't have the problems which you had before. So actually, for example, if someone cheat on someone, and that person will come to a new relationship, and the other person is completely faithful, but that person who had that problem, he will start to suspect. Can you imagine suspect a person who never did it? It's accusation, it's actually insult. And you can ruin the new relationship. So what we need to do? We need to be just aware that we can do unevaluating judgment. And we just need to take time to become aware of our thoughts. Hey, why I'm doing that? Did this person did it to me that I want to suspect her or him? Did that person do that or that to me? Why I am judging that person this way? Why I am doing that actually? Do I have a reason for that? Yeah, thank you, Patrick. Randy, please.
Just with any analogy, it's not exactly going to correlate with the point that is trying to be made there. So we don't want to stick too much to this as a bank account. But I did want to say that although Patrick said it doesn't compound, I think on the deposit side, he's probably right. It doesn't compound. But I think on the withdrawal side here, it does compound. I think the more you establish a pattern of these negatives, they just exponentially grow and take over who you are. On a practical level, I wanted to emphasize, though, the last one in the list of deposits, the keeping commitments. I think that is something that I've noticed is missing from the current, I guess it would be Gen Z, but the 20-somethings don't seem to have a commitment to time, even in the short term, even when it comes to something like responding to text messages in some reasonable period of time. It's just become acceptable to them not to. That's a lack of a commitment to the person who's communicating with you or attempting to communicate with you. So that kind of thing, when it becomes your pattern, then it just takes over and drags you down. And what I was thinking is the result of that is no forward movement. I see that keeping a commitment, you're constantly moving forward towards something, toward a goal that you set.
Right.
And without the emotional baggage part that we've talked about, this is something concrete. You make a commitment to work towards something, you take steps toward it, and you keep moving in that direction. And
Yes.
if you don't move.
Thank you. Very good, Edin. Zohra?
What is playing
First,
little
can you say
tin
what's
God
at the
in your
bottom
life
of
mean?
withdrawals? Yeah.
Say it again.
What does playing little tin God in your life mean?
Who would like to answer? I would ask to some American speaker, talker, who would like to say? Because I can explain. I know it by my understanding, but I'm sure that you guys explain better. Richard, please.
I've heard of the word God complex, meaning someone who believes they know it all. That's the extent of which I can define that.
Carlos?
These are the ones that like to control everything. And if you don't do exactly what they want you to do, they punish you. That's that's their personality types. They just always have to be in control, and they don't have relationships with people. They have relationships with people they can use or get something from to help them. Well, they're very narrow and focused with things.
Yes. Thank you, Carlos. Patrick?
I heard the expression from, again, this is all from like decades ago, where it basically someone with a very command control mentality, where, hey, just do what I tell you and don't ask any questions.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, guys, was a delicious conversation. Thank you for all of your insights. So, and the next slide will connect to withdrawals. And Mr. Covey is saying then, what flexibility do I have if our trust bank is withdrawn? And he's saying none. I'm walking on minefields. I have to be very careful with everything I say. I need to measure every word. I'm in tension city. And unfortunately, many families are filled with it. Many marriages are filled with it. It will be the next slide. I again will ask a volunteer. It's very important what we are living because of the emotional bank account is withdrawn. Do I have to volunteer to read?
I'll read it.
Yes, Patrick, thank you.
If a large reserve of trust is not sustained by continuing deposits, a marriage will deteriorate. Instead of rich, spontaneous understanding and communication, the situation becomes one of accommodation, where two people simply attempt to live independent lifestyles in a fairly respectful and tolerant way. The relationship may further deteriorate in one of hostility and defensiveness. The fight or flight response create verbal battles, refusal to talk, emotional withdrawal, and self-pity. It might end up in a Cold War at home, sustained only by children, sex, social pressure, or image protection. Or it might end up in open warfare in a court where bitter ego destroying legal battles can be carried on for years as people endlessly confess the sins of a former spouse. And this is the most intimate, the most potentially rich, joyful, satisfying, and productive relationship possible between two people on this earth. Most constant relationship like marriage require our most constant deposit. Old deposit evaporates because your accounts with the people you interact with on a regular basis require constant investment. There are sometimes automatic withdrawals in your daily interaction or in their perception of you that you don't even know about.
Thank you, Patrick. Did you find yourself in any of these situations?
Every day.
Carlos?
Yeah, just recently, as you meet new people, you never know what you're going to get, like a box of chocolates. However, it's going through the experiences, and there's some things, you know, you learn to pick up. One, how do they resolve conflict? Because whenever you have a relationship, there's going to be conflict, and that's not important. What is important is how they approach it. You know, I mean, there's a way to disagree without being disagreeable. There's a way to walk through, or maybe at least attempt to resolve the conflict without attacking, you know, just kind of being open and honest. And that's kind of what builds the trust that we're talking about here. Again, it's longer term strategy when, all right, I may not agree with this, but let's again, I think the positiveness is the willingness to work through those difficulties, no matter how messy they may be. That's what builds the trust, not that you actually resolve it.
Carlos, thank you so much. Guys, every your insights, every what you're saying are just bringing me back to the new meetup, which we will have. Even don't think that I so desperate to agitate you to that meetup, but everything what you're saying, we will discuss there. I so impressed with all the material about neuroscience when they explain why, what Carlos, you were telling, and I listened to you and I understand now why we are doing that. So I deeply, deeply invite you to that meetup, but please, even if nobody will come, I will still do it by myself and sit and repeat for myself, because I started already to practice. I started to understand why I'm doing that, and just simply understanding what you're doing it's already easy. Okay, thank you so much. Richard, what did you want to say, please?
I'm really intrigued by the automatic withdrawals.
Actually, it was my question, what is that? But I look at the time and I decided to move forward. But let's do not run. Let's do what is interesting for you. Who would like to give your opinion on it?
I'll give it to start
Go. Yeah.
Like, for example, my job is to take the garbage out, and
very important job.
Sometimes I forget, and I need to be reminded, and I don't realize that those things are actually automatic withdrawals, even though you may do it later on and go, oh yeah. It allows for a certain level of let's say withdrawal.
It's a good example. I can say that it wouldn't be too big withdrawal if you will forget to take out the garbage. Maybe a couple of cents or maybe 1 cent. So not big withdrawal, but we got your point. Yes, thank you, Richard. Zohra?
So, yeah, I never go with the grain, apparently. So I'm gonna oppose some of the stuff that's on here. So a lot of this stuff kind of bothers me. And then some of the things that we go over takes me to a different place in my head. Like, so some of the stuff is saying the automatic withdrawals and investing and all this stuff. So I just feel like the world has come with this new era of self-preservation and self this and self that, and everything is about self. And to me, it's just, I'm tired of listening to that because it's also selfish to me. We have people in our lives, I'm not saying that they can't drain us, but they're going through something. And do to others you want done to you, or don't do it at all. Because I mean, there are people that do need it. They do need you. It doesn't mean that they're trying to purposely drain you. I don't know. I just can't agree with a lot of the stuff, how the new psychology stuff comes through the world, and oh, well, you should preserve yourself, and these people are draining you. Well, then who do these people have? And what happens to them? If they're automatically withdrawing all your energy out, is what it sounds like to me, then who should they go to? Because at some point, we've all gone through that walk, and not all of them are at the level where they can pull out. And I'm not saying drown with them, but I don't know. I just can't. So I think that paragraph alone just bothered me. So that's just me. Sorry.
No, thank you, Zohra, for sharing. And whatever is bothering you, it's actually wonderful. And we are at our not level, we are at our place. We are who we are, where we are, where we are.
So what happens to
We need to
humanity,
start.
though? That's
We
pure
need to start
humanity, no?
from that. However, what I want to tell you that everything starts with yourself. This is not about selfishness. We actually defined what does mean selfishness. Selfishness, it's when we violate the rights of other people. This is selfishness, but we have to love yourself. If I don't love myself, I won't be able to love the other people. And this is the big misconception when people don't understand, should they love each other or not each other? Should they love themselves or not? If, for example, I want to share a bread, I need to have a bread. I cannot share a bread if I don't have a bread. So if I don't love myself, actually, you know, I'll share with you, I'm pretty tough. And I'm pretty, I'm pretty tough. And why I'm pretty tough and they can judge the other people? Because I'm pretty tough on myself. And I'm judging myself all the time. Definitely, I will do it to the other people. So, and as soon as I will forgive myself and let do to myself what I need to do, and stop judging myself, I will automatically stop judging the other people.
But I'm not talking about self-love. I'm talking about humanity, about just purely helping to help. Like it doesn't have to come off as they're draining you and stuff. And again, I'm not sure if I'm even being clear on where I'm coming from, but I see people, friends, just not bother with friends. Oh, this person has something negative to say every day. Maybe they're just going through a walk in life. Like, why can't you just be a shoulder? I mean, to me, that's loyalty and friendship. Like you know, you help them walk their walk, and because at some point you might need it. So I think, to me, when I read that last part, that's what it feels like. Like it's, you know, people's normal day new attitudes about self-preservation, I guess. And to me, I guess where I come from in life, being a foster kid, if it wasn't for complete strangers or people walking the walk with me, I don't think I'd be where I'm standing. And I don't see that anymore in people, you know. I just see, and that's probably why I say selfish, because that's what I see. I just see people just being about them and not really understanding that it's the godly thing to do. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but that's just my thought process.
You are saying everything right, and I just want to tell you that we finished 3 habits which are really about yourself, and next habits 4, 5, and 6 will be exactly what you're talking about. It will be about others. It will be about how to build relationships, but you can build relationships only if your foundation is strong. We cannot jump right away into relationship if we are unstable, if we are judgmental, if we are not sure in ourselves. we will project. Want we or don't want, we will project, and people will sense. We want to help, but we are unsure, but we are unhappy. And we will project that. Yes, Tracy.
Yes, you said pretty much a few things that I wanted to say to Zora. To add on to that is, the thing is, when it comes to people that drain you, it's a matter of you being in a space, in a place where you are strong, that you can actually help somebody. And the thing is, as far as with draining people, is people that drain you, is you have to have boundaries. That's something I've learned in my life. There are people that you can help and they will move on and they will be better. And then there's other people that they're just like a leech. It doesn't matter how much you help, they're always in a bad situation and you're really not helping them. So it's twofold in that sense, that you have to be a person that is able to recognize that and be strong enough in yourself that you have yourself together, that you can help. But we are all supposed.
Beautiful answer. Thank you. Randy, please.
An American poet, I think Robert Frost, said, "Good fences build good neighbors." And that's the idea of boundaries that was just said, that even when you're raising children, you can't always say yes. That's not a sign of love. No is more a sign of love. Giving them limits and helping them understand, so that when they get older, they'll be able to make their own yes/no decisions. And charity is not what's being outlawed in the sense of giving to people who need it. Mm-hmm. But if the people who are on the receiving end just go, like you gave the example of growing up in a foster home, if there were to be somebody who goes to one foster home, gets as much as he can from that family, goes to another one, that's not the purpose of the foster system. And that's, I'm sure, not what you did. I don't mean to demean the foster system at all. The point is, you're helping someone to help himself. That's the highest level of charity, really. And I think one of the expressions is, you give someone a fish, they eat one meal, but if you teach someone how to fish, then they can eat for life.
Very deep. Thank you.
I agree with both. I guess at the end of the day, I think this is going to be just my thought process with what you guys are saying. I do live by, who am I to judge? Like, how do I make that determination? And who am I to judge how far somebody needs help? At what level will it work? Do we know? Or are we just assuming that, okay, this person is trying to just drain people? What if they need more than somebody else, So I don't know. I like I said, my thinking process is a lot different in those ways. And maybe because I feel, do to others you want done to you, it's hard for me to give up on people. And I think that's where sometimes it gets hard on me.
Okay, we didn't listen, Carlos.
Yeah, it's really a personal thing. We just had a holiday here, and my brothers and sisters don't function at a very high level. They've got caught up with drugs and drinking and all sorts of kind of crazy crap. I can't hang out with them. So what I do is I go take that morning and I go chop the vegetables, feed the homeless with my organization stuff. And again, that gives me some fellowship with those people that are out there lost. One time my father asked me, though, well, what about tomorrow? My response has always been, well, that's up to them. But I did what I think I can do for what time I have. Now, the rest of it's up to them. They either take and find and step up and do their stuff, or they don't. And I can't have any control on that. Again, I did what I had the resources and ability to do. And so I feel good about that. I was able to contribute. Now, can I put 24/7 into it? No, I can't. Nobody can. And you can't be a constant caretaker to people because, again, the more you coddle them, the more you cripple them, is my thought. So, But again, once in a while, giving somebody a hand up or just maybe a respite from whatever struggles they're with, sometimes that's all the best I can do. And that's good enough for me for where I'm at.
Great, Carlos. Thank you. Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, so Laura, I think emotionally you're probably more resilient than the average human being, the average American, right? Because because you're talking about like, hey, the idea of humanity and things like that, and the fact that you're a foster kid. And by the way, I'm a foster parent, and we adopted the kid that we foster. So, but the whole point is this, right? It's a matter of not really. It's not a matter of your action of helping, right? Your action of helping comes from compassion, right? So, but the key there is the minute you start thinking about, oh, the other person is consistently, asking for help, even though they know how to do these things themselves. That's when you have to question, well, is your helping really helping, or is it really hurting? Right. So you see that all the time, right? In today's society, right? I don't know where you live, but I live in Texas, so that, I see it all the time, but where folks like really can do it, but they just choose not to, right? So it's their choice to basically, and so therefore it's their choice to basically ask for help for things that they could do for themselves, right? So then you have to ask yourself, like, well, do you want to basically engage or have a relationship with people making those choices, right? Then you basically ask yourself whether or not that's an ethical relationship that you're in, right? So these are more complex questions, but I think instinctively, Laura, I think you have you basically make bigger emotional deposit than the average human being in America. So kudos to you. But however, there's a trade-off, right? There are no solutions. There are trade-offs that you have to think about. And those trade-offs are complex. They're not easy to think about. I mean, a book that really helped me when I was, when I started helping nonprofit is a book called When Helping Hurts, right? It's basically what, Carlos and Randy had talked about. And also I think Tracy, there is a boundary. And you should, and that boundary is different for everybody. You just got to figure it out, and it has to be on an individual level.
Yes, Patrick, thank you. Randy?
I want to flip it to the other side, not just teaching the person we're trying to assist, but our emotional bank account doesn't have unlimited deposits. We can be resilient up to a point, but human energy is limited. And if you, just like you said, Lena, with the bread, if you run out of bread, you can't give any more to anyone else. You have to make sure that you bring home enough bread to feed yourself and strengthen yourself so that you can continue to give. And we saw during the pandemic, I'm a physician, a lot of nurses, a lot of physicians just got burnt out totally and left the profession. This is an absolute extreme case, but it brought to the forefront how important it is to care for the caregiver. How much can you just keep giving until there's nothing left of you? And I'm talking about physically and biologically and hydration. Your body can't just keep giving. And the professions who commonly are involved in this are teachers and healthcare professionals of all kinds, many other customer service, the jobs that have customer service aspect. There's a human limit, and it's not a boundary that is going to be set by you, or if you're lucky enough, you'll set it before you burn out, but your body will burn out.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Then no one's going to.
Up to the mark.
Yeah, I've been there. So so to answer, I guess to just talk back about it. So yeah, I know when people are to some degree asking more than once, and it's something I know they can do. I think I was talking more on an emotional basis to some degree as well, because I've been there, but I don't for some reason draw my energy from other humans like that. For me, simply walking next to the beach energizes every bit of my being. Like, to me, just being in touch with God, being closer to nature, those things are what brings me to life or deposits that love in me. I guess maybe because of what I've been through, because I see how humans act, I don't understand a lot of it. I don't think that's the way our world should have been moving. So those things affect me. So I can't watch the news too much, or at all for that matter. But I'll give you guys a quick example. A friend of mine, she was going through something with her dude, and it kept going and going. And she saw everything. She just couldn't let go. And eventually her friends gave up on her. And I couldn't, because I've been there. And, you know, sometimes they just need to, they repeat the same thing, the same drama. And I just listened. And when she was ready and she was sick and tired of being sick and tired, she let go. But I stood by her through the whole thing, because I don't think, you know, love is very complex, and we, it's not always how we pick or who we want to pick. It's just complex. And who am I, you know, to tell her, okay, this guy's a complete jerk. He is a complete jerk, you know it, but you can't let go because she wasn't ready. She hadn't built her confidence, and I didn't want to leave her there. And yes, sometimes that works, you know, that hard love thing that people believe in, but hard love never worked for me. I think it did the opposite effect. So I think because of my experiences, I tried to do something opposite to see what would help the person. And it worked, you know, just having someone and not everybody leaving her, I guess, gave her whatever she needed, and she let go. So I that's kind of like an example that I was thinking of giving you guys, you know.
Thank you. Thank you, Zora. So it's 8:42, and while conversation was very interesting and learning for all of us, we slightly went to the other side. So I see Carlos and Richard want to talk. Let's do this. I will close the meeting for today. Who would like to stay and continue the conversation? You are more than welcome. I'll be there. So let's do that. However, for meeting for today is closed, and we will continue our topic on next Monday at 7 p.m. So thank you so much, and let's continue our conversation. Richard, please.
Well, I was just hoping to give a little bit of my thoughts on what an emotional bank account is and what we're referring to. I think the word emotion or emotional in this emotional bank account might confuse some of us on what it actually is. And in this bank account, we're not talking about our own emotions. I think we're talking about emotions shared between two people, and I think the main one being trust in this sense. So a relationship with two people, between two people, and how they maintain a trust and in a relationship is through this emotional bank account, which is not necessarily, we're not talking about fear and some of the other corrosive emotions. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up as my point, is to clarify the issue of the bank account and how we add to it and how we subtract to it. It's not necessarily somebody's an emotionally draining person. I think that's a different subject.
Thank you, Richard. It's very attentive comment. Actually, it's how you said a different subject. This subject, we were talking 9 meetings, and it's all subject relates to public private victory. If we will practice what we studied in habit 1, 2, and 3, we will be more mature. We will be more stable. We won't be withdrawn. We are coming back again to the same what we are talking, that without a private victory, we won't be able to win the public victory. And yes, right now we are discussing paradigms of interdependence. So we are already making transition to relationship. But guys, we are not ready. However, don't worry. Mr. Covey said, in order to live my principles, not my principles, what he shared with us, you need to read this book 10, 15 times. I can only ask Patrick, Richard, and the other people who were with us, is it right? Guys, is he right? Can you tell, Patrick, Richard?
Just reading and listening to Covey today, I found something completely different that I didn't find the first 2 times.
And Patrick, 20 years, right? You are with Mr. Covey, and you are still. Can you say?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's the whole point of the beauty of living by principle, right? You know, and it's just one of those things where, you know, for me anyway, it's basically insight, right? Insight to oneself, right? Insight, you know, I get personal insight when I read certain things and then overlay, you know, recent experience with it to say, huh, you know, so things like that. It's, you know, like for example, you know, the idea of the emotional bank account that, you know, yeah, it's basically the goodwill between two people, right? And the thing is, it's basically it has to be mutual in a way that, you know, where both party are either depositing or agree on basically the amount of withdrawal, right? So it's, and obviously, you know, human beings are complex, so therefore two human beings getting together is even more complex. So, and that complexity changes. But without a set of principle to work off, right? You know, you'd be lost in space because you're like, well, what do I do now? You know? So I think for me, I'm still learning, mainly because every time I get additional insight, just, you know, little nuggets. It's, you know, basically little things, little nuances that, you know, I didn't think about before. So
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Patrick. So basically, we need to be mature in order to enter relationship. Yes, Stefan.
When do you get to be independent? You know, when do you get to be independent enough to enter into a relationship? I mean, habits 1, 2, and 3. You know, depending on where we're starting from, could take a long time.
Yes, of course, and there is no visible border when today I'm dependent and tomorrow I'm independent, or I will be independent in 1 year or 10 years. This is about how you feel yourself. If you're sure in yourself, if you're satisfied and happy by yourself, if you don't need somebody to make you happy or to fulfill you, how I made an example of, or I'm unhappy, and when I will meet the man of my dream, he will make me happy. No way. So this is the sign. If you're happy with yourself, if you satisfied who you are, if you like yourself, then you can share what you have with the other person.
That might be a long time coming.
Just keep doing it. We are where we are, and this is the best platform for anybody to start. Not my place or Patrick place or Nicole place. No, where we are, it's the best place to start. Yes, Carlos?
This is one of those questions that my buddy and I spent a long time on some years ago. The question is, how do you know when you're ready? And we kicked this thing all around. I mean, deep intellectual thoughts, and we came up with a very simple answer. How do you know when you're ready? Well, when it's in front of you, you're ready. Jump in, make your mistakes, and if you're with somebody that understands, a little mature, because that's how you learn. Is they'll help you along. Again, you got to be open to it in case you say something offensive or whatnot. But usually, if they're reasonable people, i.e., the type of people we want to grow from, is that you kind of help each other with those blind spots. And as you get better at that, I mean, don't wait, jump in. Life's fun. The more people, now again, I have people on the outer bands, and the ones closer I see, talk to more often because of the growth I'm at, or we just have a deeper understanding. But yeah, there's some I don't catch up with, but every 3 months, some maybe once a year, some every couple days, or at least once, and it depends on the level or the depth of the relationship, what I've learned, what I contribute, what they've learned, what they contribute. So again, don't wait, jump on in there, make your mistakes, because that's how you learn.
Yes, Carlos, thank you. Love it. And Patrick wrote, it's a lifetime process. So what I just described when you know that you are good with yourself. But Carlos, I absolutely agree with you. Richard, please.
The one thing that I try to focus on, the one that I see in front of me every day, is how I use the words, the pronouns, you, I, me, us. Us is a perfect pronoun. I try to count the number of times I use the word you, and if I use it too many, of course that's a negative. For me, in my mind, that's the way I progress to being independent. And also, happiness is a choice.
Yeah, good idea. Thank you, Richard. Zohra?
I was just
Zora.
I was just gonna, yeah, I was just gonna comment on what Stefan said. So, I don't. It's an everyday process. What you were saying, like it'll take a long time. You just have to feel it, because even though people can master these steps, it's not a perfection. Because they do fall from that horse. Plenty of people think they're there and they fall, and they just have to get back up and brush it off and do it again. So don't feel an entrapment to it where you feel like, oh my God, a whole year went by. It's a choice. Like, you have to be brave enough to step out there and be like, hey, I could do this. For me, example wise, I moved from Florida to Chicago, and it's been a very rough ride. And they have shook in my grounds here because they don't know what nice people are. They thought I had an agenda. And they're like, why are you so nice? And I'm like, and I felt bad for them, because if you have not seen somebody genuinely be nice for no reason, want nothing in return, I mean, that's a lifetime of something you've missed, to me. And just watching them consistently try to burst my bubble, like, oh, you need to come out of this fantasy world you're in, and I've heard all this stuff, or you gotta see how people are. And it's like, they just think that I want to see people like their goodness in them, and that's a choice I want to make. I want to see the good, because people didn't get that way born. Circumstances got them where they are.
Right.
So if I can plant a seed in somebody, it might not be towards me, the goodness that comes from it, but if it's paid forward to somebody, eventually that seed will grow. I know it will. I believe in my heart it will. And they'll do good somewhere in life. And if that helps me get one closer to God's presence of wings, I'll take it. You know what I mean? Because that to me is the right thing. So don't, this is just a guide to make yourself, your conscious better, to find your way. But if you feel comfortable, take a chance, take a risk, and step out and try. And if it didn't work, you had nothing to lose. You just start again and start the process from, wherever you feel you're ready.
Great, great. Thank you, Zora. Every experience is experience. Doesn't matter is it good experience or bad experience. It's all experience, and we are growing from all experiences. Yes, thank you, Randy. You're muted.
There we go. It didn't want to unmute. First of all, as a Midwesterner, having grown up in Cleveland and then went to college in Chicago, I find that attitude surprising because usually we're the ones who use turn signals. We are, in general, more polite by stereotype, but it depends where you are and which group of people you're with. As far as happiness, that doesn't have to be a goal, an ultimate goal. I think if I will be happy when, you're never going to be happy. Then what about today? So in a way, it's related to people who say, well, happiness is a choice. I think if you're happy with what you have today, you're happy. If you're happy only with what you're going to have tomorrow, you're chronically going to be unhappy because you're always working towards something. I think the satisfaction of reaching a goal is a little different concept, and it may be part of happiness, but you can be happy today for reaching the steps toward your goal that you set out to reach today. So who is happy? The one who's happy with his lot is a statement that's been made. So if you're happy with what you have, what's been given to you, what you've earned, what circumstances have caused you to have, and you move from there, then you can make yourself happy. And okay, that's what I want to say.
Thank you, guys. Thank you to all. You are awesome. It was very insightful conversation. I tremendously enjoyed.
Lena, I'm so sorry. I took your whole meeting off the grid.
That's absolutely fine. I'm sure everybody enjoyed and learned for themselves something. But I'm just, everybody has responsibility, right? And I, as an organizer, I have responsibility to keep the conversation in the right direction. You can imagine if tomorrow and next meeting, everyone will start to tell their stories with all details, and we will start discuss. We just need to change the topic for our meetup. If you would like, we can just talk about relationships. Let's set a conversation and talk about it. It's wonderful. So it's my responsibility. It's not that I'm not interested. I actually was very interested to hear what you say and to hear all of your opinions. I tremendously enjoyed, but I have responsibility and I have to keep our conversation as much as close or toward Mr. Covey's 7 habits. And I hope you agree with me. Okay, guys, thanks again from all my heart. I need to let you go. Thank you so much, and I look forward to see you next Monday at 7 p.m. Randy,
Thank you.
wanted to say something?
There's a whole organization, a 12-step program dedicated toward not allowing your happiness to depend on someone else's happiness, or someone else's behavior, rather, and that's Al-Anon.
Can you guys put these things in chat and then I could grab it from there? Just curious to find these things, but I won't remember everything. So thank you.
And thank you, Zora.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.